Hey guys, hope you had a great break. Courtney and I had a really good time. My mom and dad came and visited, so we were able to take them around Belgium. And actually, we're able to go up to Amsterdam and see Corrie ten Boom's house where she lived. So that was really encouraging, challenging. Today's study is kind of a takeaway from some stuff that my dad and I were talking about, but also an email that Quentin Gross sent me, kind of challenging me to live in the freedom that we have in Christ Jesus. Something that I praying that I can grasp, that I can live in, that I can accept. So here's kind of what I've been working through, what I think the Lord's trying to teach me. Verse 8, first two verses. There is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. For the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has made me free from the law of sin and death. And guys, if we're honest with ourselves, we can all see the end of that verse 2, the law of sin and death. There's truth to that. You can look in our own lives from the first time, you sinned, the first time you had a screw up, how much easier was it to go again, time 2, time 3, times 4. It's easy to see that downward slope in our lifestyle. You can see it in the lives of others, guys that are substance abusers that are, get jacked up on all kind of crazy drugs that just eat away at their life, the destructive habits. Maybe it's illicit sex that guys are just living wild and attract an STD, or there's so many patterns in life that exemplify this verse. Also in the spiritual realm, a life apart from Jesus Christ, ultimately because of our sin, the punishment of that is separation from God, eternity in hell, damnation. And you guys, I don't want to dwell on that. I don't wish that upon anybody, but the fact is that that's true. And where the hope and where the incredible grace comes in is that Jesus Christ, God's Son, came to earth, lived the perfect life, and then died for us. So we don't have to live this impossible standard. We don't have to live a sinless life. He did it for us, and when God looks at us, it says he sees the righteous blood of Christ covering Jesse, covering anybody that believes in him. So in thinking on this verse, how can I explain this, Dad? I'm still kind of wrestling through it myself. How does this make sense? And one thing that my dad's always done for us, he said, when you're in what he calls the natural world, the here, the now, God always will put things that will point you to him. There's a verse that says, the heavens declare the glory of the Lord, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So, maybe it's a beautiful sunset. You can say, wow, God is beautiful. Maybe it's the intricacy of a human hand, and, all the veins, the muscles, the bones, stuff just didn't just happen. The creation points to the Creator. And so when we're driving back from Amsterdam, we're on the road, and my dad said, Jesse, we all believe in the law of gravity. That's truth. We can't, it's so evident. Look off to the right, there's a big plane taking off. See that plane lift off, gravity's still true. It's same for the car that I'm driving, it's same for the airplane. But the only difference is that pilot, that airplane, the airplane manufacturer, they understand the law of aerodynamics. And because those wings are tilted, there's enough speed, they can lift off. And it doesn't mean gravity's not true, but there's a higher law that plane's operating under. So it really made this verse come alive. Yes, the law of sin and death is true, but there's a higher law, and that's the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus. And guys, that's the law that I want to live in. I want to be active. I want to accept that for me. I want to live in the freedom that offers. Because for so long, guys, I'm very strong-willed. Anybody that knows me knows that that's true. And sometimes it's good, sometimes it's really bad. But in basketball, I've had a lot of success in my not success in basketball necessarily, but success in the area of just having a strong will. If I want to improve, I'm going to work at it. I'm going to bust my butt. I'm going to do ball handling till my back hurts. I'm going to lift weights hard. I'm going to get extra shots. I'm going to do everything that I can to improve. But when it comes to spiritual things, my development as a person, I get very frustrated because no matter how much I say, I'm not going to lust, I'm not going to be the same cocky tool that I always am, I'm not going to be angry, I'm not going to react at that referee when he does the bad call. I screw up, and I do it again and again and again. And maybe sometimes, thankfully, sometimes there's improvement in areas, and I know that the Lord's changing me. But for me, I've been far too consumed with that frustration, the condemnation it talks about there in verse 1. And guys, I want to give that to the Lord. I don't have to live a perfect life. You don't have to live a perfect life because, and only because, Jesus Christ lived it for us. and his perfect sacrifice was enough for you. It's enough for me. So as we're going in 2015, guys, let's set those goals. Let's strive to be the best men that we can be, to honor the Lord with our lives. But when there's a shortcoming, when there's failure, don't let condemnation set in. Give it to the Lord. Father, I screwed up. Help me. Change me, Father. Make me the man you want me to be. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one.